So, hi, and welcome to today's horoscope. Today, we're going to be talking about the sun entering Aries and some of the transits that go along with that. As well, I guess Mercury retrograde moving slowly, just some things going on in the sky, some general factors. This is actually kind of a calmer week because we don't really have any major events going on, and it's finally, I haven't been able to say that in like the last 3, 4 weeks. I haven't said that, so that's kind of nice to hear. But before we get into the general considerations and the horoscopes, I want to say that I do astrology readings for people. Right now, I'm just doing birth chart readings, but soon I'm going to be doing year ahead transit readings as well. I'm almost like ready for that actually. I pieced a couple things together that I was missing, and I'm almost ready to start doing that. So they're $25, and they're probably going to remain $25 for the foreseeable future. But they are live Zoom readings, and you get to sit with me on Zoom, and it's recorded so you can watch it forever and ask as many questions as you want. It's kind of like a conversation about your birth chart and about the transits going on in your life. But in this video, we're talking about the sun entering Aries. So, when the sun is in Aries, this is a very independent energy, and this is the beginning of the spring season, right? When we think about spring, what comes to mind? The energy of Easter, right? The energy of new birth. The trees are starting to bloom, the birds are building their nest. It is a very exciting, a very expansive, a very abundant energy. Aries is full of fire, it is full of new, it is all about new birth, and is the beginning of the zodiac, right? And so that is the energy right now. It's very, very independent energy. It is very like expansive. It is very growth oriented energy. And that is the beginning of the characteristics from this week. We have Mars, the ruling planet of Aries in Pisces, which can be a little bit slower, a little bit quieter, a little more emotional. And that kind of gives like a very artsy, I would say. That's a very artsy, a very romantic, a very pleasurable is kind of a good word to put, a very dreamy quality to this time with the sun in Aries. And this week, some of the transits are very similar to that as well. And so I'm going to walk you through some of the transits as well. I wanted to say that Mercury right now is coming out of retrograde and moving very, very slowly. And so this is a time of expansion, like I was saying, yes, but this is a time where expansion's happening slowly. There's like almost like a delay in the springtime energy is kind of the vibe. And it's like rather than being so like, let's do it now, it's kind of like it's a slow burn. We're stepping into a slow burning season, I feel like. And that's the energy in the sky right now, is it's kind of like a slow burn. You're starting a slow burn at this time. The first transit that I want to really talk about is Mars trine Jupiter from March 21st to March 22nd. This is a time when expansion is natural and easy, favorable for physical activities and confidence, right? Mars in Pisces can be a little bit confusing, and when it's trine Jupiter, the ruling planet of Pisces, this is an exceptionally good time. This is an exceptionally good energy, and this is exact at the very beginning of this week. And so even though there is confusion, you're able to act outside of that confusion, or you're able to, for a moment even maybe, understand things on March 21st to March 22nd in a much more clear light. This is also when the sun is in Aries and the sun is moving towards Neptune, which is the next transit I want to talk about. So March 21st, we have the sun conjunct Neptune. The sun in astrology represents our energy, our ego, and it connects to our third eye, right? Our vision, our intellectual mind, and our expansion towards ideas. Neptune is very watery. It's the same energy as Pisces. It is very dreamy. It is very intuitive. And so this is a good day for like art, for creativity, and for understanding your intuition on a better level. Personally, I connect Neptune to the higher heart chakra. And it is the octave of like unconditional love and very watery emotions, our dreams, right? And so I just feel like this is a time where it's like you're able to be both egotistical, I guess. You're able to be both logical and emotional on very, very high levels, and there is really a pull at this time towards creativity and the wateriness of emotions. And so I would just say like Aries energy is very independent, right? And this is a time where it's like you could be overly emotional just a little bit. This is kind of an overly emotional kind of energy, and you could get lost in the energy that is pushing you forward. And so I would just say this is a really good time to focus on yourself, to focus on creativity, to focus on creating things and creating beautiful things. I feel like the outcome at the beginning of this week. So March 21st, March 22nd, the outcome is really, really good for emotional, for creative endeavors, and for things that you can get lost in. That's kind of the vibe. With the sun sextile the moon March 23rd, this is an easy time to bring others into your orbit and share ideas. I'm going to look at that date. But yes, the moon, the sun, and Neptune will all be in like they'll have a configuration in the sky. And I just feel like this is a really good day to like share your ideas, share your thoughts with others, and I feel like it's a good time to collaborate is kind of the energy. The moon will also be in Gemini, and so people are inquisitive, people are understanding about your ideas, your thoughts. And then the next day, March 24th, we have the Sun conjunct Saturn, and so this is a good time to get important things done, focus on what is supporting you and what keeps you grounded. So when we talk about Saturn, Saturn is the fundamental things in our life. The sun, like I was saying, is our vision of the future. And so I feel like this is a good time to really plan for the future and be aware of the future, but like there is still that watery energy very close by in the sky. And so it is a time to like to have a loose view of the future and to really solidify that in your life and like to create solid plans, but I would say just understand that things like may not work exactly as planned. But I still feel like it's a good time to create solid plans and to be very grounded. Take a grounded approach to life or like look for a grounded approach to life. On the 24th of March, we have the moon square Mars. And so this is a time when feelings may surface, right? Mars represents our confidence. The moon is our emotions. The moon also connects to like groups of people. It connects to other people in our lives and is this is just a time I feel like when your emotions might surface. And so I feel like this is almost like a warning, right? That this is an emotional time, right? This is a time when you could get carried away in what you're feeling. And it can be hard to really see the world from the perspective of other people because there could be so much going on in your world that you could feel very, very stuck in that. And so I feel like this transit is a very good reminder that like we have to be able to step outside of our own emotions, even if it's just for a moment, even if it's just for a time. And it is important that you can see things from many different angles. The Sun sextile Pluto, March 25th. So, change is easy under this transit. You will sit with difficult feelings or facts. And so, Pluto is the planet that represents expansion. It represents like transformation, right? And so I feel like at this time, your feelings, your emotions have a transformative quality, and that can be good or bad, obviously, right? If you're having negative emotions, they have the ability, I feel like at this time, to impact your life in negative manners. And if you have positive emotions, it has the ability to do the same. And so I feel like this is a time to really be like to be aware of yourself, and this is a time to really just focus on what's going on in your mind, in your body, in your experiences. So, March 26th, we have the moon conjunct Jupiter, and this is a time where you feel expansive or you're able to expand within groups of people. And I feel like your ideas will be much more like, they'll be much better received by others, or like your plan will be much better received by others. This is at a trine to Mars and Mercury. And so, this energy of the moon conjunct Jupiter is helping out with the difficult energy of Mercury moving slow and Mars being in Pisces. This is, I would say, like March 26th is like the best day to make something happen out of the week because the sun will have separated from both Neptune and Pluto. So that energy is still in the sky, but it's not as profound. It's not as strong at this time, and I just feel like this is an exceptional day to make something happen, whatever that is. The 26th of March is a good day to like plan an event or to enact your will on the world, whatever that means for you, like to make something happen in your world and in the world around you. But from this point in the video forward, we're going to go into the horoscopes for each of the signs this week. I'm mainly going to be talking about the sun's shift into Aries and just kind of the general energy. Like I said, this is a calmer week. There are little details that happen this week, but I feel like this is a week where you have the opportunity to really write in whatever you want, and it's a week where like your intentions can take hold and like there's space, right? Whenever there is space, you have the opportunity to take that space up with something. And I feel like that's kind of the energy is like nothing is being forced upon you this week. It's all in how you react, what you do with borrowed, what you do with time, right? And what you do with empty space. So for Aries this week, the energy is kind of like I was saying, like a blank slate is kind of the vibe. And with the sun entering your sign, The sun in Aries is what's called an exaltation, which means a point of raised importance or a point where it's brought up, right? And so I feel like this is a time where you have abundant energy, Aries suns and risings. There is abundant energy at your fingertips. And there is a lot of emotions as well. And that may be something that you're not the most comfortable with, Aries, or like is not the most usual, right? And I feel like the question is like, what do you do with an abundance of energy this week? And like there is an I would say that there is a focus from the universal energy on what are you doing with your time and what are you doing when things aren't being forced upon you? Like what are you doing at your own free will? What are you doing with your own energy and how are you like conducting yourself? Like how are you keeping track of the way you're conducting yourself? I feel like those kind of like concepts are very important this week with this little break from all the changes because like over the past like 3 4 weeks things have just been happening. That's kind of the vibe. It's like things like it's like go go go, and it's like there hasn't really been a break. This is the break. And so the question is like, what are you doing with that break? Whether it's important, whether it is taking time to be artsy, to be creative, to be like do something for yourself. What are you doing, and how are you using that time in a productive manner? And I feel like it's important to say like productivity doesn't have to mean like doing chores. Like productivity, like sometimes doing nothing is productive. And so that's just the question. Like what are you doing with your time? Take inventory, I feel like, at this time. So, Taurus, this could be a week where you're like noticing subconscious habits and you're looking at like the way you're looking very intently at your own thoughts, your own mind, and your own perception of reality. That's kind of the vibe with the sun in your 12th house. It's like the universe is illuminating maybe some bad habits or some bad like patterns in your life. And this is just a time where I feel like you're noticing the situations in your life that are not serving you. And it's a time where like it's spring cleaning vibes at its finest, but spring cleaning of the mind. So, Gemini, this week we have the sun in your 11th house and a lot of things going on between your 10th, 11th houses and your second houses. And I would say that in general, this is not the best time for collaboration, right? You could be overly emotional. There could be a vibe where it's like, it's just difficult to control the outcome, like specifically. Like I was saying on March 26th, the vibe is kind of better for controlling the outcome. But in general, I feel like right now, like, it could be difficult to present the best version of yourself to others. And just this week is it's kind of foggy. It's kind of emotional. And I feel like it's a little bit of a time where it's like, maybe you're not sure what to present. Maybe you're just maybe it's difficult. And so I would say take like a more avant-garde approach to presentations at this time. And this is just a time I would feel like this is it's kind of a time to take risks when we talk about Neptune, but Saturn is here as well. And so it's just a time to I would say if you're going to take a risk, it's a time to take very, very calculated risks. And it's a time to really live for yourself and to do the things that you want to do regardless of what other people say, but also like to be it's there's an interesting energy because your planetary ruler is in the 10th house, moving very, very slowly, right? And so it's not necessarily a time to be presenting, but sometimes we can't always control like everything in life. And so I would just say like it's a time to pay extra attention to the way that you're presenting yourself to the world and maybe like to just be more aware of what you're putting out there. So, Cancers, next week you have a full moon happening in your fourth house, which represents a time where you're dealing with very important things or very fundamental things, things that are like very like that keep you going, right? We also have the sun conjunct Saturn this week. And so I would say this week there is a little bit of time, there's a little bit of space to really enjoy the moment and to savor what's going on around you. And so I would say in general for Cancers, this is a calmer week. And this is a time to really take like advantage of maybe a calmer time. And it could be a time where it's like you don't really know what would make you happy. You don't really know what would make you feel good. You don't really know the answers. You don't really have the answers. And this is just a calmer week. So I would say it's a good week to like get chores done, to do things that set you up so that way next week when things are a little bit more chaotic and there's like more things that need to be done, it's like you're more prepared. Leo, so this week I kind of feel a very, very spiritual vibe for Leos. We have Neptune in the ninth house, which represents like enriching experiences and like ethereal experiences, right? Neptune is all about spirituality, it's about intuition, it's about vibes. And the ninth house is our experiences in life. The sun right now is conjunct Neptune and Saturn in your ninth house. And I just feel like this is a time where you have the ability to like to find some peace, to find some calm, and it is a good time to like to monitor like your own experiences and to monitor your experiences with spirituality. I feel like important conclusions come when we are quiet, right? And that is kind of the vibe right now for Leos is like there are very important conclusions that you can come to when you take time for yourself and you put yourself first and when you find a way to quiet the noise around you. So for Virgo this week, I feel like enlightening experiences come when we take time to notice the reactions that our like endeavors, our actions, then when we notice the way our actions affect other people. I would say this is an exceptional time for empathy. We have the Sun conjunct Neptune in your eighth house, and this is all about transformative experiences with art, with romance, with beauty, with creativity. And so I just feel like that right now, life, there is a lot to learn from the way people react to what you're doing. And there is a lot to notice in the way that people see what you're doing. I feel like that's kind of the important message for Virgos is like the answers are kind of coming from other people at this time, and it may take some like attention because Mercury, your planetary ruler, is moving very, very slow. And so it may take some intention, it may take some like some acting upon of yourself in order to actually see the things going on. But I feel like if you're paying attention, then people are showing you the answers that you need at this time. So, Libra, this week we have the sun in your seventh house, and the ruling planet of that is Mars in your sixth house. And so, you could be facing some sort of problem at this time that is difficult for you to solve on your own. And I feel like the message for Libras is like it's okay to ask for help. And this is just a time where it like might be good to like delegate tasks out to different people and to ask somebody for help is kind of the vibe, or like bring somebody into your orbit and like I just feel like for Libras, there is a lot of calm this week, but there could be problems. Like there could also be problems that like need attention, and it's like you can't do everything is kind of the vibe. And so even if that means like delegating so that way you can take some time off, that could be the vibe as well. But I just feel like this is kind of it's a vibe of like maybe this is a time where you need to ask for help or like bring somebody in, like let somebody know that you're struggling with something or ask somebody for help on solving a problem. Scorpio, so this week, I feel like this is a good time for you to think of creative solutions to your problems. And the vibe is kind of like that you might have to like think your way out of something. Mercury is moving very, very slow though, and so I do see like that the issue could like linger or it could be hard to find an answer. And I feel like this is just a time where you have to really think outside of the box. And I feel like by doing that, that's the key to your success at this time as a Scorpio is to think outside of the box and approach the situation from a new angle. Whatever is going on this week, I feel like you really have to look at it differently and think outside of the box. You have to put yourself outside of yourself for a moment and say, like, how would somebody else solve this? And just be able to like start back from square one. Like, even if you've been working at the same problem for a long time now, I feel like this is a time where you need to circle back to square one, start walking through the steps again, and is a time where like a creative solution is your best option. Sagittarius. So this week for Sagittarius is we have the Sun conjunct Neptune and Saturn in your fifth house. And I feel like this is an excellent time for like production, but like the production may not be exactly like I feel like this is a time to create for the sake of creating, but like you may have to understand that like the results may not yield exactly what you want, or the results may like yield something completely different is kind of the vibe. And this is just a time I feel like for when we talk about the fifth house, right? The fifth house is like romance, it's creativity, it's expression, it's doing things. I feel like this is a time to do things just for the sake of doing them without being really attached to the outcome. I feel like the outcome at this time could be very unpredictable. And there is just a vibe where it's like you may have to put yourself out there and it may not yield the result you want. And so there's a need to, I feel like, release expectations at this time for Sagittarius's and to be comfortable with like things not going exactly to plan. So, Capricorn, this week we have Saturn, your planetary ruler, being aspected by the sun in the fourth house. And this can represent like a fundamental problem that you need to solve, or like something like it could be like a big problem. Like this could be like moving houses, this could be changing your living situation, this could be like money and supporting yourself. There's kind of major topics that are being highlighted at this time. And with Neptune here as well, it may feel like you can't do it on your own, or there could be an energy that you can't like do everything that you need to do at this time. There is kind of a vibe of like lack of balance in that area or with these problems at this time. With Mercury moving very slowly through your third house, I feel like there's somebody in your immediate surroundings that you could ask for help, or there is a way that like You can bring somebody in. There's an idea that will help you through like a more difficult situation. But right now, I just see like a struggle. I'm gonna be honest. For Sagittarius, for Capricorns, I'm sorry, for Capricorns, there could be like like a struggle, and it could be like a fundamental struggle. But this is just a time where I feel like you have to be willing to ask for help. You have to use the tools around you to their fullest. And maybe everything can't be done at this time. When we talk about Saturn, right? Saturn represents slow and continuous efforts towards change. And so I feel like this is a time where it's like you may be laying a foundation. You may be working hard for something and it doesn't come immediately. It takes time. There is a need for like continuous effort and to continually apply yourself to something before you start to see the results that you want. And so this is just a time I feel like of slow where you're looking for a slow burn, and it could be tempting to rush towards things. With Aries energy, it's like we got to solve this problem right now. But I feel like the answer lies in a slow burn. So Aquarius, this week I feel like could be a difficult week for Aquarius, it's not gonna lie. We have the Sun conjunct Saturn in your third house, and this is a time where it's like you're maybe having to reaffirm the lessons that you've been learning over the last 7 years, and it's a time where maybe like you forget something that you once had like you felt really comfortable with something, and this is just a time where it's like maybe you're noticing you're falling back into old patterns, or it's like you're just not able, it's like this problem is re-arising. Why is this problem back? You know what I mean? And so for Aquariuses, I feel like this is a time to really reaffirm that you're on the right path, to remind yourself that like it's okay to stumble, it's okay to fall, it's okay to like get off the wagon just a little bit. And there is maybe a need at this time for Aquariuses to be comfortable with failure, and maybe to remind yourself that like failure isn't always a bad thing. And I'm not saying you're failing this week. That's not the vibe necessarily. But like that failing is a part of what gets you to success, and the way you react to failure I feel like is very, very important. And this is just a time I feel like where like maybe your efforts aren't working exactly in your favor or exactly the way that you had planned, the way that you wanted, right? And it's just a time where maybe you have to be comfortable taking a step back in order to take a step forward, right? And what's coming to my mind right now, I'm thinking about a cat. Like cats, whenever think about how a cat jumps. If the cat wants to jump from one counter to the other, right? It has to squat and get prepared, you know what I mean, to leap. And so that's kind of the energy, is that right now maybe you're taking like a slow, you're stepping back, you're having to bend your knees and prepare for what is to come. And it may not be something that you're excited for. But I feel like that's the hard work is going to be worth it, right? That's kind of the vibe. It's like you're learning from your mistakes at this time. Your mistakes could be highlighted at this time, whether you're making mistakes or not. There is kind of a highlight on like mistakes from the past, and what you've been learning over the last 7 years as Saturn moved through your first, second, and third houses. I just feel like this is a time to reaffirm that you're on the right path, and to remind yourself that like nothing happens instantly, nothing happens. We can go through the same problems over and over again, and that doesn't mean we're not defined by our mistakes. We're not defined by our problems. And I feel like this is an important time to reaffirm those thoughts. So, Pisces, this week I would say the major thing that is highlighted for you is your financial habits. We have Saturn in the second house being highlighted by the sun. We have Jupiter, your planetary ruler, it's in your fifth house. In your fifth house. And so there could be overindulgent behaviors, is one thing I would say for sure. Like there could be like this could be a time. I feel like this is a really good time to make a budget and to stick to it. I feel like this is an important time to make a budget. Mercury is moving slowly, and so I would say that like you can't make every decision like just because you make a plan doesn't mean it's going to go exactly to plan. It's not going to be perfect, but I feel like this is an exceptional time to plan for the future. This is a perfect time to just be aware of your finances, be aware of where your time is going, where your resources are going, and are they going to like good causes? Are they going to important causes? Are they going to amount to something over time? Those are the questions I feel like that at this time you need to be asking yourself. And if you're noticing like they're not going to good causes, things are not necessarily like essentials, or it's not even about essentials, it's about wanting more, right? If you notice that your goals are not being met because of something you're doing, right, that can be changed, I feel like this is an exceptional time to start that pattern of change in your life, and just to be aware of that, to be like more aware of the patterns that happen in your life, and the fact that you are in control, you are in the driver's seat of your own life. I feel like that's an important message at this time. It's like you are in the driver's seat, and it's like, what are you doing with that control?